Diapers on a Plane. Welcome to episode 40.
Indeed. This is episode 40 of Diapers on a Plane. Today we're going to be talking about...
Christmas in Norway.
Christmas in Norway.
Christmas in Norway.
Yes, all about our experience spending Christmas in Norway. So here at Diapers on a Plane, one of the things we love to do for some crazy reason is spend Christmas somewhere other than home. Why is that?
It just really gives us like an appreciation for spending time together and celebrating what the Christmas season is all about, which is not presents, it's family.
Well, and I think another thing is it's another way to celebrate a very important holiday is to learn how other cultures celebrate it, and it's kind of exciting. So it makes it more meaningful to me.
It also really unites us because as people, we all celebrate this, incredible holiday, but we all do it a little bit differently, but it still unites us because we're still all celebrating the same thing.
Yep. And also, when it comes to...
Norway, you get to see Santa.
This is true. Well, when it comes to family travel too, usually people get a good chunk of time off from their jobs around Christmas time. So we like to utilize any time off that we have to travel as much as possible. And since we can't travel right now, we're talking about past Christmas travels.
All right, so we chose Norway. Why did we choose Norway?
Oh, it was really cold.
It was really cold. Why did we choose Norway?
Because that is the place where it snows.
So we wanted to go somewhere cold, and
We wanted to see the polar night.
that's right.
I literally just remembered.
Yep, no, that is exactly why.
Yeah.
So we had made some pretty big plans on this trip to Norway to spend Christmas.
Just like in Iceland, you leave your boots out.
Yeah, for Santa to fill, right?
Instead of stockings.
Yeah, so we made huge plans for celebrating this really incredible Christmas in Norway. It included, actually the whole season was it was jam-packed. So we started this Christmas off. Okay, this was Christmas 2017. Norway Christmas 2017. We started with a Disney cruise that left out of Galveston, Texas. The day that cruise ended, we literally had just enough time to get on the very first flight possible to get all the way over to Oslo, Norway, and then we had just one possible flight that we could get on to get to Tromso, Norway.
Yeah, so Tromso is where we had booked an Airbnb where we had planned on spending Christmas Day, and it was all set. We planned on that. We had even written the owner of the Airbnb, our host, and told him we were staying there for Christmas. He'd already planned on getting us a Christmas tree. It was all planned out. It was a really small little touristy, secluded area.
So it's the northernmost part in Norway on the mainland. Mm-hmm. So after going, we really want to go back and go to Svalbard, but that is a separate island that's more north.
But yeah, so this trip though, not to cut you off. To cut you off.
Okay.
No, but we had gone on a cruise, so we had to pack swimming summer clothes and winter clothes. Would you do that again?
No.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
So we packed so much, right? We had so many suitcases, and we are very minimalist when we pack typically, but we had to pack so much because we had to pack Christmas presents, we had to pack for the Caribbean, and then we had to pack for the winter. And when we went to Iceland to celebrate Christmas in 2013, we did not dress warm enough, and we were not going to make that mistake again.
So we had to have plenty of long johns. It was a lot of carrying around luggage on two trips that wasn't necessary, and it's exhausting.
And our suitcase broke on the very first leg of our trip. It broke on our first flight to Texas.
Yeah, when we had to duct tape it back together.
Somehow we had duct tape. I don't even know why. It was serendipitous, but we had duct
brought
tape.
duct tape. Anyway.
Do you remember why you had brought duct tape?
No.
Yeah, I don't know, but we found it. So we kind of duct taped our luggage together. It was the very first leg of our trip, and so that's what kicked it off.
So we're trying to just talk about Christmas, but that's kind of important because we were coming from that cruise. We had just one shot, and we fly standby a lot, so this was probably not the best idea. But we had one shot to get a plane to Tromso, which is where our Airbnb for Christmas was.
So we had a really good run. We had had a great run of catching every flight we'd ever wanted to for this big long stretch of time. So instead of using that as a guidepost to say, probably won't work out, or luck's probably gonna run out, we used it as a guidepost to say, we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think Catherine remembers better than I do of why we missed the flight.
All right, so this is what happened. All of our luggage came, except for one suitcase. And this suitcase couldn't have been our Caribbean clothes. Nope, it had to be our suitcase full of presents. And so we had to make this really hard decision. Like, do we go on and hope that they send our Christmas presents the next day? Or do we wait and make sure we have Christmas presents for Christmas Day? Now, there were two issues with this. Number one, we had one flight that we could take. Now, when you fly standby, you have to fly with a partner airline for the airline that you work with. But there are lots of flights that go out that you don't have agreements with, right? So we had one flight we could take, but there was one other flight that was not on a partner airline. So it wasn't just, will our suitcase arrive and will it go out on the next flight? It was, will our suitcase arrive and will it go out on a flight that we're not partners with, because we trust the airline employees to send it over to a different airline, get it on that flight, and get it to us. So this was very convoluted.
So we ended up canceling our trip to Tromso. We were super sad about it.
So again, just to say, Tromso is, again, this little tiny island, the northernmost part. They see the northern lights in Tromso, which is why we booked it, more than any other city anywhere in the world. And we had an Airbnb with a skylight in our home that we had planned on laying in the family, as a family together in a family bed with a skylight over us and watching the northern lights like all Christmas long. So that was the plan.
Now we have to go back.
And now what happened was, and we had a dog husky sledding trip to take, and we had another cruise that we were going to take to see the northern lights. So what we ended up doing was waiting for the presents, right? We kicked off this vlogcast saying that the most important thing was about family, and we decided to stay behind for our presents. Because at the end of the day, we did have 3 little ones. At the time, we had the 3.
So we decided to stay in Oslo.
Yes. Well, we didn't have a choice. That's where we were.
Yeah, we were in Oslo. And so, we didn't have a choice. So there are less flights. There are almost no flights. So Norway, at least in Oslo where we were afraid that it would shut down similar to Iceland. Iceland, the whole country is just locked down. Like, no stores are open, nothing is open.
Well, and the flights did lock down. That's why we couldn't go again. Flights locked down on the 23rd.
So there are no flights until the 26th.
Yeah.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So as I recall, we actually had to wake up the 26th at like 5 a.m. in order to make our cruise in time.
Yeah.
It was a hot mess, but
Put your leg down.
But we were able to get this really nice little last minute Airbnb in Oslo.
It was a 1-bedroom Airbnb, and that was really important because we needed the kids to be in another room sleeping.
Yep. And then like I said, the store stayed open longer than we had anticipated, so that was really, really nice. It's important to me when we go somewhere new that we have like the food that's native to that culture where we're eating, especially on Christmas. I wanted to have the same Christmas meal that we would have had. We had a restaurant booked in Tromso that would have been perfect. But the stores were open. I was actually able to buy what's it called? Lutefisk? Lutefisk and pork belly, and what else did we buy? We bought
sausages, we got some ham. No, it was just like frozen packaged ham.
But you know what? It was all packaged for Christmas.
Yes, it was.
Like everybody eats the same thing on Christmas, so it's like how do I say it? Everything's prepackaged specifically for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like the boiled potatoes for mashed potatoes were already boiled, prepackaged. I don't know if that sounds like the most gourmet, but I was able to make everything as authentically as a first-time Norwegian cook could.
The first thing we did was get a Christmas tree, and that was really important for the markets to be open to get a Christmas tree.
Yep.
Because they only celebrate with live Christmas trees in Scandinavia, especially in Norway. And so we made sure that we weren't going to pack a Christmas tree. Yep. And so we got just this cute little tabletop, little live Christmas tree, and the kids made all the decorations. So what were some of the decorations that you guys made?
We cut out little circles and cut out little hooks and
I
don't remember how we put the hooks on. I don't remember what we used to put the hooks on the circles that we cut out, but we put the hooks on there and then we drawed on the
I
circles.
think we made a
and hanged
little
them everywhere.
hole at the top of the table.
So do you remember the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins you made this year with your Halloween crafts and you hung them all over the house?
Yeah.
What did you do with the hook?
We hung the hook on somewhere.
No, you cut the hook out, attached to the pumpkin. That's how you hung everything in Norway. That's how you guys came up with that idea, is you discovered that in Norway, is you just drew the hook on and cut that out that way.
Yep. What else do we have with dinner?
Sausage and cloudberries.
What about dessert?
Cookies.
Yes.
Yes.
So a lot like in Iceland, you have to make at least 7 types of cookies in Norway. And everybody who comes to the Christmas celebrations has to bring a type of cookie.
It's the law, and they will come arrest you. If you only have 6 types, you could spend the night in jail.
You cannot have anything even on Christmas in Norway. Everything has to be odd. And what does odd mean?
You can't divide it into an even into. So
You can't divide it in half.
Yeah, you can't.
she
divide
needs
it.
8 and I need 8, but instead I only get 7 and she gets.
So,
So we can't make it even.
right.
Yeah, good. We were able to have a festive dinner, and Gabriel really took the lead on that. I remember I made the potatoes. I refused to buy prepackaged boiled potatoes.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we did boil our own potatoes. We did mix them with a little cream. They may have resembled a little bit more like mashed potatoes, but they were good.
They were good. I don't think anyone ate the fish, but it was important that I had it there.
Yes, the lutefisk.
The lutefisk.
So one other thing that went wrong is that we got there really late. It was on Christmas Eve, so December 23rd. They also eat, the lutefisk is the fish that they eat that's fermented, like they do in Iceland. But one thing that happened is we wanted to see a market, a Christmas market. It's one of the reasons you go to Europe for Christmas. And we ended up in the shopping mall because we had to take a bus to our Airbnb. It was a big thing. But what I remember is we were at this market and Gabe went to go get something for our Christmas dinner that he saw. And he was like, well, I might not be able to get this again, or it might be closed. So he went to go get it, and he had to go around this corner, and he got lost. And I was with the kids, and we had our phones, and he texted me and he was like, okay, I'm here where we were supposed to meet up. And I was like, no, I'm here where we were supposed to meet up. And we were in completely different places. We got completely lost, and we just spent the next 2 hours trying to find each other. We kept pinning ourselves on our Google Maps and sending them to each other. And it was a disaster. I mean, we spent at least 2 hours trying to find each other. And so we weren't able to go to a Christmas market. So that goes back to Gabe's point about things being open, because by the time we finally got to our Airbnb, we were able to get food, which was really important for dinner.
Yep.
So that was another thing that went a little bit wrong.
So it's interesting talking about all this, because I have the fondest memories of this
Yeah.
trip. But the truth is, we need a do-over because we didn't get the full Norwegian experience. This was just our experience.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear anybody who wants to tell us some advice or comments, but we did our best.
That's how it turned out for us. So once we got all that out of the way and we were in our Airbnb Oslo apartment, we made our cookies for Santa. The kids made all the decorations. They strung lights everywhere that they colored on paper. We made lots of wreaths that we hung around the house. We made lots of decorations in red and green. In Norway, they do lots of decorations because, again, this is the polar night. And so they light everything up with candles and everything up with lights. And we didn't have any of those, but the kids did an incredible job of making sure that everything was festive and bright and light with all of our decorations. And we had wonderful meals, and then it was Christmas Eve night. And what happened?
We got our pajamas.
Yes, of course. We unwrapped our Christmas pajamas, and what did our Christmas pajamas look like?
They looked like elves, and we got these little slippers with curved fronts with little bell at the top, and the girls got nightgown gowns except her, and they looked like elves, and the boys got shirts with little green and white striped pants.
Yes, and everything went perfectly, right?
Yeah. And the shoes had jingle bells on them, so when you walked around, they would jingle.
Yeah. Did everything go perfectly?
I can think of some things that didn't go perfectly. I don't know if it's the same things you're thinking of.
Do you remember someone was coughing really bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell that story.
Who was it? It was
Pie.
Oh yeah. So we got there on the 23rd. We had Christmas Eve and then Christmas, and then we had to leave at like 5 a.m. on the 26th, or we were not going to make our Christmas Hurtigruten cruise. And so Miss Pie, and I thought there were a couple of them, got the worst like bronchitis type cough ever. And I was like, we were so worried that we're not going to get any sleep. They're not going to let us on the plane. We were going to have so many issues that it was going to cause a disaster. So I had to get an Uber who could take me out to find some cough medicine so we could get some sleep.
And this was on Christmas Eve. This was on the 24th.
So it was on Christmas Eve. Oh my goodness. And turns out in Norway, to get children's cough medicine, you have to have a driver's license, you have to have documentation, you're supposed to have a prescription. And I forgot to take my driver's license. I only took my credit card. And so I actually had to go to the pharmacy, and then they asked for my driver's license or my passport. I had to drive back to the apartment and then back to the pharmacy.
And it took a while. I mean, this wasn't around the corner.
Oh my goodness.
Because there was only one open. Again, everything closes.
And it's
so
like,
there was just one open.
I just want some children's Robitussin. Seriously, and they were like,
Million questions.
oh yeah, million questions. I had to I swear I had to give him like a drop of blood. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
But we had to get it because we needed the sleep, we needed the rest, we needed to get our kids better. I was able to get it, and we were able to. She was able to take some cough medicine, get some sleep, and she was feeling a lot better.
And it was good that you did, because after her cough developed, of course, everybody else developed a cough. So
and we had that. We had that medicine.
It helped alleviate everybody. So once he finally got back from the pharmacy, we were able to go to sleep, and Santa was able to come. And fortunately, everybody slept in for a long time. So not only did everybody get sleep, but so did Mom and Dad. And it does help when you take those long flights, because everybody's tired, and so everybody has jet lag. Everybody slept in. But Claire brought up something, and she brought up how you get to see Santa Claus in Norway, right? So did we get to see Santa Claus? Did he come barreling through our door with his sack full of presents?
Yeah.
He didn't come through the door.
He didn't. Why didn't he come through the door for us on Christmas?
Because he always goes through the chimney.
Well, we were a little bit busy getting lost at Christmas markets, and we were a little bit busy trying to get all of the things we needed for dinner for Christmas, and we were a little bit busy trying to get cough syrup on Christmas, so we did miss Santa Claus, unfortunately.
Widmore, what do you remember about the Northern Lights?
That we came in a big a big white bus, and it was really warm, and then we went up this really snowy hill, and then when we got out, I'm pretty sure there was a white and a green and yellow northern lights that were up in the sky.
Yeah.
And they're like lines up in the sky that are a bunch of different colors, and they're really big, and they move a lot. They're weirdly.
It looks like ribbon swinging on a stick.
Yeah, it looked like ribbon swing. So I remember too, Catherine, maybe you remember this, is that we were not prepared for the Northern Lights for viewing that. We just had this idea that it was this ethereal green magic bands that flew around, and maybe in some cases it is. But it's kind of like, it's difficult to see if you don't know what you're looking for in some regards. I'm sure it's brighter than sometimes than others. But we had to actually be shown, it's up there, I promise, and you'd have to like have your eyes adjust. And you can't take a picture of it. You can take a picture of it. We couldn't take a picture of it. Like we had our nice camera. The bus driver gave us a whole bunch of instructions on how to adjust the aperture and the light sensitivity and all that stuff on it.
You need to look at the camera.
But what did we need if we wanted to shoot the Northern Lights? Do you remember, Catherine?
A tripod.
You need to try. Why?
Because taking pictures of the Northern Lights, you have to capture all of the light that's in the sky. So when you see it with the naked eye, it doesn't appear as the colors. They do sometimes, they do fluctuate colors, but you have to capture the light, which then basically kind of makes the lights more prominent. And so if you don't have a tripod, you may feel like you're perfectly still, but you have these tiny, tiny tremors because you're human. And so you're shaking it all around. So you're not capturing the light. It's all blurry.
Yeah, so maybe we did shoot the Northern Lights. We just had a whole bunch of ugly...
Oh yeah, we got tons of pictures.
We got tons of really
they're not
awful
crisp.
pictures.
Yeah.
We were trying to like put it on a Dixie cup, our camera. We were trying everything because this is our once in a lifetime opportunity to be out there capturing the Northern Lights. We did our best, bless our hearts. And our hands were frozen. I think we had to keep shuffling our kids in and out of the bus.
So we had long johns on and we had warm winter clothes, but we had warm winter clothes for Utah. We didn't have warm winter clothes for Kirkenes in the middle of, the Arctic Ocean, and it was freezing. And my boots were really cute, and they were knee-high boots, and they had fur on them, but they were not rated. So the kids ended up going back on the bus, and I took their gloves and stuffed them in my shoes. My toes were frozen. So chalk that up to another mistake that we made for this Norway trip. But and the end of it, so what? We didn't have a camera. We don't have amazing pictures to show off to everybody, but we have amazing memories. And because we weren't so busy taking pictures, I can remember what they looked like. And they were so unbelievably gorgeous, and they danced in the sky, which you're not going to get on a picture anyway, and you're not going to get on a recording. You can take successive pictures and then put those together for a recording, but what we got to do was just remember them in our minds.
But if you could, would you go back to take pictures? Yeah, totally would.
Yeah. But it was so cool. I remember they formed this V. The thing is, I do really remember them because it was such a spiritual, sacred experience. But we don't have it on camera, but I do remember them because it was so incredible.
Yeah, and even when you go on these tours, when they take you out to these remote areas, you're not even guaranteed to see them at all.
Yeah.
So we got lucky the one shot that we went. Some people will go all week long and not see them and pay a lot of money for these buses.
Yeah. The one thing we did prepare for in advance is we did plan, it was a dark night. We planned it during a dark night. Mm-hmm. But really the best time to go, so we went at Christmas, the best time to go is in March because there's no cloud cover. It's even darker.
It's warmer.
It's a little bit warmer. Yeah. So that's when you should go. And that's when we would go, when we go back. But it was still such an incredible experience, so much that's what Widmore remembers the most about it, most about our entire trip to Norway.
And they went moving like this.
Yep, it was really cool.
Sometimes they kind of went up like this.
Yeah, and that was 3 years ago. And so it had such a profound impact on us that, he was 3 years ago, you were 6, so he remembered everything. Eclair was 3. Molasses was not with our family yet. Eclair was 2. She was a little over 2. And the twins were 6. So it made a really big impact on our family, and it was an incredible experience.
Yep. So from Kirkenes we went home from our Christmas vacation, but before that was the Hurtigruten.
So let's just say the last thing we want to talk about for our, we already talked about going. So our Hurtigruten cruise was really cool too. We only did it 2 days, but we wish we had gone the entire 12-day trip, which started in Bergen.
Yeah, as I said, it swayed, so it was really fun when you walk down the stairs, and a lot of people get seasick. So they even have these teeny tiny merchandise shop that had motion sickness
Bags. Yeah, they were all over the ship,
Oh, all
remember?
over, yeah.
Or even little bracelets that help.
Yeah, so why did it sway so much?
Because it was a small ship.
It was a very small ship. Yeah, it was kind of like a barge. So it stopped. It made multiple stops along the way to get goods or drop off goods. Yeah.
And also, at the side of the boat, there was a little warm hot tub.
Yeah, at the one end, there were 2 hot tubs, but they closed one because it kept losing all its water. So it was even hard to go into the one.
Yeah,
Hot
and
tub.
Catherine really wanted to take the kids out there, and I was afraid that they would just slosh right off of the ship. It's not your traditional cruise ship as you would you would imagine. It was something
It
special.
was actually really warm and great in the hot tub.
Yeah, the water was really nice. It was a good contrast.
But yeah, so part of the ship is rooms, really small rooms. I think they have some larger staterooms. And then the other half of the ship is a cargo ship, so that's carrying cars, cargo, everything up and down the Norwegian Isles, I guess.
Yeah, we did a full walkthrough of the Hurtigruten, and you can check it out here.
Yeah, one of our more popular YouTube videos, actually.
Yeah, so the best thing about the Hurtigruten, honestly, was the food that we ate. So what they would do is they would stop in every port stop, and they would pick up fresh food. So they didn't keep it on the cruise. They picked it up every night. The first night we ate this incredible pink fish called Arctic char, and we had it with cloudberry sauce. I'm sorry, the dessert was with cloudberry sauce, but the Arctic char was served on potatoes, of course. And seriously, best fish I've ever eaten in my entire life. So good.
Yep, and so that night we ate it at the restaurant, but most of the patrons there, because the ship was rocking so hard, most of them were just getting to-go boxes and going back to the room with like barf bags.
Yeah.
And they had to put our water on special coasters so they wouldn't slide off the tables.
Yeah, so they're used to it.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and then the second night we ate a buffet. Not another buffet, I was thinking back to our Iceland trip, but we ate a Christmas buffet, and it had, I remember there was this giant stuffed pig head that was like the centerpiece.
Yeah. They have like some premier chefs on those ships, and it's small. So I mean, it's a small like buffet, but I think that it's just really, really good.
Yeah.
So they know how to treat their guests on the ship.
They had this cauliflower soup that we've since like looked up a recipe for and had at home. I remember that really stuck out to me. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nothing.
Oh, and the only real entertainment on that ship is they had a lounge with a piano lounge singer.
Oh, he was great.
And then like places to do board
he was
games.
so funny.
But it's not a bells and whistle cruise.
Yeah.
It was. I would hands down. I would almost take one of those over the typical traditional cruise any day.
So you don't take the Hurtigruten to be on the ship. It's an adventure ship.
Right.
Remember? So the Husky sledding was one of the stops that they do on the Hurtigruten. Another one is
snowmobiling.
So you get off at a stop, you snowmobile to the next stop, and then the cruise picks you back up.
Picks you up. Yep.
You can go ice fishing at one of the stops. So that's what you do on the Hurtigruten.
Well, and it's a hop on, hop off.
It was a red and white ship.
Yes, it was.
Yep. The Kong King.
Yeah, Kong Herald.
Kong Herald.
Yeah.
And it's a hop on, hop off ship. Like we just did it for 2 nights, and it was like checking into a hotel.
Yeah.
You climb up the stairs into the ship. And we kind of wait and like, is this really the boarding process?
Yeah.
And they check your keys just like at a hotel, and they're like, okay, you're on. It's like, wild. This is cool.
Yeah. Just super authentic. I really want to take one to Antarctica now. They do an Antarctica cruise. Please take us. That's what we want to do. So our rooms were really cool too. We had to be separated into 2 rooms. Yeah.
And the bed's pulled out.
Yep.
Yeah, do you remember what that's called?
Murphy bed.
Yes,
Yeah,
Murphy
Murphy
bed.
bed.
Yeah. So 3 beds per room. They're all twins. One is a couch that then you pull the top down and it folds into a bed. So the kids kept calling them bunk beds because there were 2 beds on top of each other, but they weren't bunk beds. They all were individual beds. And then do you remember what we did with the ladder? So the ladder you just kept off the side of the room, and then you just moved it over when you needed it.
The rooms were teeny tiny. They
Yeah.
were so cool. And it really, what they needed was a seatbelt to strap you into. Because the boat rocked so hard.
Yeah.
I remember one night, I dreamt I was in an airplane and we were doing like a nosedive and crashing. It felt that real. And I think I'm the only one, but I got pretty seasick.
It was really hard to walk. I mean, you literally, we have video, but you literally could not just walk straight.
Yep.
And then when we were on the ship, I was trying to walk straight, but I was really lost.
Yeah. So it was small, but we also were in a blizzard. So we were out that night in particular. It was so bad because we were in the middle of a blizzard. So
It's pretty stormy.
everything was affected by that. You're out on the water.
And I think we mentioned this before, but pro tip here though, I think in the future we would love to actually do a Christmas on the Kong Herald or a similar Hurtigruten ship.
I wonder if you laid on the floor and then you would just automatically roll around.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we kind of did that up in the lounge, right? Because you couldn't play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and things aren't
And then
included. It's these cruises. Go ahead, sorry.
And then there was some like stacky block, so I stacked it really high, and then but I tried to do it by a wall so it didn't fall down, but then it started tipping the other way, and it hadn't tipped that way in a long time, so I thought it wouldn't fall like that, but then it tipped that way, then it fell.
Yeah. So these cruises are not all inclusive. So you do get breakfast and then you get dinner, but everything else is like you have to pay for it. So like the ice cream on the ship and the lunch and any other
Why would there
things
be
you want
ice
to eat.
cream on the ship?
Yeah, they had a little ice cream because it's so cold. Huh? Yeah.
It's like gelato. It's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So, yeah, and
But-
we're budget travelers, but I think next time I would prepare it so we can just.
Well, do you remember? I remember one day we had this short stop. Well, there were stops all the time, but there's one of the nights there was this short stop, and you wanted to get off and get something to eat really quick. And we did not have a lot of time, and he was still off the ship, and they were blowing the horns, telling everybody they were leaving, and I was freaking out because you weren't back. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And I was freaking out, and I was just like, what are we gonna do? He's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. But you came back with that soda, and that's how we fell in love with that soda. That's what I remember.
Wait, is that it?
What was your side of it?
I don't remember that well. I think I just wanted some convenience store
Yeah.
hot dogs or something.
Yeah.
I think they're big on hot dogs there.
Yeah.
And you just got soda?
No,
Well,
you came back with a hot dog.
No,
too,
and like
I'm
the
sure.
thing
you
is,
brought everybody back hot dogs. I remember.
yeah, I think you were worried about it, but there were a lot of people from the ship going to get like hot dogs and stuff because I think the ship food was so expensive.
Yeah. Well, you weren't being left on the ship alone with 3 kids.
Yeah. But I would love to do it again. There was a lot of older clientele there, a lot of older guests. There were a few families with some small children, but I think they're geared more towards oldies, gray hairs for sure.
Yeah, but they told us on Christmas Day there was a Christmas tree on the ship, and everybody from the ship that was on there gathered around the Christmas tree, and they all sang Christmas hymns. And they said it was just one of the really coolest things. And they also said that they were on Christmas Day, they were in between these 2 giant fjords, like the 2 tallest fjords in all of Norway, and the northern lights were so bright right on top of them.
That's it.
So
If we're ever allowed to travel again, I want to do that again.
yeah, so that is definitely the top of our list. We really want to go back to Svalbard, which is, I mentioned this earlier, but they never see the light. The light never comes at all. It is 100% pitch black, and in the summer it is 100% sunlight because they're so far north the sun never goes below the horizon of this flat earth we live on. So that was...
Oh my God.
I'm not a denier. So anyway, that was our trip. So what are our big takeaways from our Norway trip?
What do you mean big takeaway?
So what were the 3 things that you remember the most about our Norway Christmas?
The Hurtigruten, and I meant to say the Northern Lights first, then the Hurtigruten, then the hotel, and then the dog sledding.
The dogs, not the hotel.
Okay,
so
Yeah, the dog sledding.
I remember the unwrapping. I remember the presents and the sign that we got, and it rubbed all over it. A sequin butterfly shirt, and you were so mad that you had to throw it away. And then I remember really well the lounge and the play lounge and the Hurtigruten, and one little picture of the water on that mat in my mind. And then the last thing I remember is just staring at empty snow really going fast. It was excellent.
Yes, I agree. I agree with Woodmore. Northern Lights, Hurtigruten, dog sledding. Maybe not in that order. They all really hold a special place in my memories. But you know, at the end of the day, our trip was completely sideswiped by the fact that we didn't get our presents, and really that didn't end up mattering at all.
Always have a plan B, especially if you're flying standby or generally, because we could have easily missed a flight no matter what.
Any of it, yeah. So, Christmas in Norway 2017. If you do have any questions or tell us about what we missed, tell us what we messed up on, Is there a better soda than Jules Brews? Who knows? We want to find out from you, so let us know. Thanks for tuning in this week. We still have one more Christmas to tell you about, and that was the Christmas we spent in Panama. And then we're going to compare what it's like celebrating Christmas at home versus Christmas away from home.
So Jules Brews is like just like liquid cotton candy?
Yes. So good.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh yeah. So how do we say Christmas in Norway?
Go Jul.
Go Jul.
God Jul.
Go Jul.
God Jul.
1, 2, 3.
Go
Go
Jul.
Jul. Merry Christmas.
And a happy pandemic, everyone. To Mom, happy birthday to Mom. Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you. Okay, blow out the sticks. Okay, now everybody take a bite. Happy birthday.
Thank you guys. That was sweet.